In 2001, an oil company's remotely operated vehicle was conducting a routine survey of the seafloor in the Gulf of Mexico. They were mapping underwater terrain, checking pipeline routes, doing the kind of mundane industrial work that happens thousands of feet below the surface every day. At a depth of nearly 15,400 feet, the camera captured something that made the operators stop what they were doing. A creature hovering motionless in the water. Long, impossibly thin filaments extending down from its body like living threads, stretching 20, 30, maybe 40 feet into the darkness below. It looked like something that shouldn't exist. A glitch in the footage, a trick of the light. But it was real. This was a BIGFIN squid. And what makes it so disturbing is that we still barely understand what we're looking at. See, most squid we know about are active hunters. They jet through the water, chase prey, use their arms and tentacles with precision and speed. But the BIGFIN squid doesn't move like that. It doesn't move like anything. It just hangs there, suspended in the abyss, its impossibly long arms dangling beneath it like some kind of underwater spider, waiting in a web we can't see. And here's the terrifying part. We've encountered this creature fewer than a dozen times. Every sighting has been from deep-sea cameras. We've never caught one. We've never examined a complete specimen. We don't even know for certain how many species there are. What we do know is that nothing about the BIGFIN squid makes sense. The BIGFIN squid belongs to the family Magnapinidae, a group so poorly understood that scientists aren't even sure how many species it contains. Some researchers think there might be just one species. Others believe there could be several, each one slightly different, each one lurking in a different part of the deep ocean. What we do know is this. The BIGFIN squid has a small body, usually only about a foot long. But its arms and tentacles, they're a different story entirely. In most squid, the arms and tentacles are distinct. Arms are shorter, muscular, used for grasping. Tentacles are longer, whip-like, used for striking prey. But in the BIGFIN squid, this distinction seems to have collapsed. Its arms are thin, almost thread-like, and they extend down into the water at bizarre, elbowed angles. The longest recorded measurements suggest these appendages can reach over 26 feet. Some estimates, based on partial sightings and camera angles, suggest they could be even longer. That's a squid with a 1-foot body and arms that are 20 to 30 times longer than its entire torso. Imagine a human with arms the length of a football field. That's the kind of proportion we're talking about. But here's what I find truly unsettling. Those arms don't just hang straight down. They bend at sharp angles, creating an almost geometric pattern. Elbows where there shouldn't be elbows. Joints that don't exist in any other squid. It looks artificial, like something constructed rather than evolved. And no one knows why. To understand the BIGFIN squid, you have to understand where it lives. Step down past 3,000 feet, past the midnight zone, into the Hadal zone, the deepest, most remote parts of the ocean. Down here, the pressure exceeds 7,000 pounds per square inch. The temperature hovers just above freezing, and the darkness is absolute. This is a place where almost nothing lives, where the seafloor is a barren desert of sediment and rock, where the only movement is the slow drift of marine snow falling from the surface miles above. And in this emptiness, the BIGFIN squid exists in a way that defies everything we know about how squid are supposed to behave. Most squid are fast. They're active predators. They burn energy constantly, jetting through the water, hunting, escaping. But the bigfin squid doesn't do any of that. Every sighting we have shows the same thing. The creature hovering motionless, its arms hanging down in a perfect, eerie stillness. It doesn't swim, it doesn't move, it just floats like a living drift net suspended in the void. And here's the disturbing part. We don't know how it does this. Most squid need to actively swim to stay in place, to maintain their position in the water column. But the bigfin squid seems to defy this. It hangs there, unmoving, as if the laws of physics don't quite apply to it. Some scientists think its arms might act like some kind of sensory array, detecting vibrations or chemical signals from prey. Others believe the squid might use its arms to sweep through the sediment on the seafloor, searching for small crustaceans or worms. But no one knows for sure, because we've never seen one feed. We've never seen one move with purpose. We've only seen it waiting. So here's the question that haunts every researcher who's studied this creature. Why are the arms so long? In most squid, arm length is a trade-off. Longer arms mean more reach, more ability to capture prey. But they also mean more drag, more energy needed to move, more vulnerability. Most squid evolve toward a balance, arms long enough to be useful but short enough to stay efficient. But the bigfin squid threw that balance out completely. Its arms are so long, so thin, so fragile looking that they seem like a liability rather than an advantage. And yet, the bigfin squid has been using this strategy for millions of years. So it must work. But how? One theory is that the bigfin squid is a sit-and-wait predator, one that uses its arms like fishing lines. It hangs in the water, motionless, and lets its arms dangle down to the seafloor or spread out in the water column. When something brushes against those arms, tiny suckers lining the length of each appendage grab hold. Then slowly, the squid reels in its catch. It's a passive strategy, no chasing, no energy wasted, just patience, just waiting for the ocean to deliver food directly to it. And in an environment where energy is scarce and prey encounters are rare, this might be the only strategy that works. But there's another possibility, one that's even stranger. Some researchers think the bigfin squid might not be a predator at all in the traditional sense. Those long arms might be used to sift through the sediment on the ocean floor, filtering out organic debris, scavenging rather than hunting. It would make the bigfin squid less like a squid and more like some kind of deep-sea filter feeder, a creature that's evolved so far from its ancestors that it barely resembles them anymore. We've encountered the bigfin squid fewer than 20 times in recorded history. Every sighting has been accidental. A camera meant for something else, pointed in the right direction at the right time. And every time, the footage is haunting. The creature hangs in the water, perfectly still. Its body is small, almost insignificant. But those arms, those impossible arms, stretched down into the darkness below, disappearing beyond the reach of the camera's lights. Sometimes the arms are perfectly straight. Sometimes they're bent at sharp, unnatural angles. Sometimes they seem to be moving, but so slowly, so subtly, that it's hard to tell if it's real movement or just the current. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it's gone. The camera moves on, the lights fade, and the bigfin squid vanishes back into the abyss. No one has ever successfully captured a live bigfin squid. No one has ever recovered a complete specimen. The few fragments we have, small pieces of arm, partial bodies, are barely enough to confirm that this creature is real. And yet, based on those fragments and those fleeting video encounters, scientists have had to piece together an understanding of one of the ocean's strangest inhabitants. So if the BIGFIN squid exists, if it's out there in the deep ocean, why is it so hard to find? Well, the answer comes down to numbers and environment. The deep ocean is vast, unimaginably so, and the BIGFIN squid appears to live at depths that are extremely difficult to access. Most deep-sea exploration happens between 3,000 and 6,000 feet, but BIGFIN squids have been found as deep as 15,000 feet in areas that are rarely visited, rarely surveyed. And even when we do send cameras that deep, the odds of encountering one are astronomically low. The ocean at those depths is mostly empty. Life is scattered, sparse, spread out across miles of nothingness. Finding a BIGFIN squid is like finding a single person in a darkened city the size of a continent. But here's what really keeps researchers up at night. What if the BIGFIN squid isn't rare at all? What if it's actually common and we just never see it because we're not looking in the right places? What if there are millions of them down there, hanging in the darkness, completely invisible to us? Every time we send a submersible into the deep ocean, we discover something new. A new species, a new behavior, a new mystery. And the BIGFIN squid is a reminder that for all our technology, for all our scientific progress, there are still creatures living on our planet that we know almost nothing about. The BIGFIN squid challenges everything we think we know about squid. It doesn't hunt like a squid. It doesn't move like a squid. Its body proportions are wrong. Its behavior is wrong. Everything about it seems designed to break the rules. And yet, it exists. It's out there, right now, hanging in the darkness miles below the surface, its impossibly long arms trailing into the void. Waiting. For what? We don't know. Feeding on what? We don't know. Living a life we can barely begin to understand. The BIGFIN squid is proof that the deep ocean isn't just unexplored. It's fundamentally alien. A place where life has evolved in ways so strange, so unexpected, that even our best scientists struggle to make sense of it. And in that darkness, creatures exist that look like they belong in science fiction, not science, fact. And that's the thing about the deep ocean. Every answer we find just leads to more questions. Every mystery we solve reveals 10 more waiting beneath it. The BIGFIN squid isn't just a strange animal. It's a reminder of how little we actually know about our own planet. If you found this as fascinating as I did, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into the strangest creatures on Earth. And if you want to see something even more bizarre, check out this video next. Trust me, you won't believe what you're about to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.